Friday, the 15th of August 2025. My name is Emmanuel Joseph Akile, together with the one most who's behind the social media coverage. I'll be right here in the studio with you on the show from now up to 8 a.m. Well, thank you for starting your day with the Dawn program. It is on iRadio every weekday from 6 to 8. To comment on any story that will be featuring on today's edition of the Dawn, do not hesitate. You can let someone be part of the conversation by dialing 0911 or 22986 a text message on 13986. You can also stream this broadcast live by logging onto our website, iRadio.org. Follow us on Facebook and X at iRadio Juba. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, iRadio South Sudan. صباح الخير مستمع راديو، أهلا ومرحبا بك في حلقة جديدة من برنامج الدون. اليوم الجمعة الموافق 15/8/2025. البرنامج في يوم الأسبوع من الساعة 6 ل 8. شارك معنا بعدين بالاتصال لأرقامنا ورسالة نصية. تابعنا الإنترنت على الموقع iRadio.org، على الفيسبوك وإكس على iRadio جوبا، وما تنسى تتابعنا على يوتيوب channel iRadio South Sudan. نمشي لفاصل ومنه حنبدأ بفقرتنا بتاع Residence Report. Yes, good morning once again. Let's start with the Residence Report segment. iRadio.
iRadio, صباح الخير. Good morning, Emmanuel Joseph.
صباح النور.
باتيستا أرمانو من قرية الخضراء. السلام بتاعي ببدأ لك في استوديو هناك ولكل الستاف بتاعك في يوم الليلة. والسلام الثاني بمشي لكل أصدقاء بتاع برنامج الدون الصباحي. والسلام الأخير بمشي لكل مستمعين اللي هم أكثر من متصلين في 10 ولايات، 3 مناطق الإدارية وقيامات وحكومات بتاعه كلهم. العيانين نقول ربنا يشفيهم، والفقد ناس بابا يجي في راسي كل ساعة نقول إنه الرب عاتا والرب عاكس، يكون اسم الرب مبارك. والمسافرين يصلوا بالسلامة والجو نقول لهم الحمد لله السلامة. أنا ما نتيجة بتاع كورة امبارح كيف يا إيمانويل بتاع جاموس والمريخ.
جاموس دوغو جاموس أو فاس
جاموس تانا مريخ بتاع بانتيو يعني.
أنت قاصد في كرة القدم نا؟
نقول لناس جاموس ونقول مبروك
أنت قاصد في كرة القدم؟
نتمنى الجمعة يكون جمعة سعيدة لكل الناس. الشهر طبعا قسم ده يوم 15/8 وليلة تعود أسبوع ونهاية الأسبوع بالنسبة للشغل يكون يوم سعيد لكل ذول، ربنا يرزقه يلقى بتعطيه يجيبه في آخر اليوم لأولاده في البيت. براسيا شكرا.
أنا قد نسألك أنت ما قدرت تجاوب، شكرا لك برضو لمشاركتك، لكن أنا قاصد إنه كنت قاصد في كورة بتاع قدم بتاع ساوث سودان سوبر كاب بتاع امبارح اللي كان حصل ده جاموسي أو دقو يعني بنتيو مريخ بتاع بنتيو ياهو فاز في مباراة بتاع امبارح، وجنوب السودان غلب ليبيا امبارح في الباسكتبول. iRadio.
صباح الخير يا مانويل جسر وكيله.
صباح النور.
أنا كشوك.
تفضل كشوك.
أنا بعيد أخوي في الاستديو وبرضه تهيئ ماتش لكل المتصلين والمستمعين وتيم العمل مع الليلة. باتيستا وإنت تلعبوا بالسؤال الأخير ما بسمع كلام بتاعك. وحتى الآن نتيجة المباراة بتاع جاموس ومريخ ما معروف للأسف.
نتيجة معروف، ما هناك انتهى بركلات الترجيح.
اوكي، وفايز منو؟
جاموس دقو بنتيو وفشال الكاس.
اوكي طيب مبروك لبنتيو. الآن أصبحنا كويسين في TOC، ما في مشكلة، أوضاع كويس مستقر. أخي شوية داير أتطرق في الموضوع بتاع السلام المنشي زي ما أدمن يا كان يتكلم فوقه وكل النشطاء وكل الجنوبيين يتكلموا فوقه. إيمان الرفقاء بتاع الحركة الشعبية ككل يعني في عينها بدول مختلفة، حركة شعبية الأصل وحركة شعبية في المعارضة وحركة شعبية في حكومة وحركة شعبية في FD. إيمانويل النازل خلال النضال بتاعنا في غابة في 21 سنة، النازل كان عندهم اختلافات شايلينه حتى الآن يعني بعد الاشتغال ما كان في حوار بيناتهم وفي تسامح. فالنضال كان عنده سقوط كثير، وفي نفس الكلام ده أجاد عمليهم وجابوا أثر في الدولة هنا، ويا في اختلافات أسد الماشي دلوقتي. إيمانويل اختلاف وارد زين كان دخل في روح ما كويس بين المناضلين، ونتمنى خلي يكون في واحد زين مشى بزمنه، والسودان هسه بقى في يد بتاع حركة شعبية عندنا بتاع مختلفة بين التوحيد بتاع حركة شعبية أو تسامح بيناتهم بخلي جنوب السودان بيكون في انعاش، بخلي جنوب السودان إنه بيكون في استقرار فتصريحات بتاع ادفايزر كل من ينجوب له تأثير كبير في جنوب السودان. فحركة شعبية بتاع وادة زين ما يكون حركة شعبية اليوم. خلي جنوب السودان يكون كويس، يكون فيه سلام، يكون فيه محبة، يكون فيه توحيد على الشعب بتاعنا. ما نرجع للانقسامات بتاع وادة زين نعملها هنا، أو انتقام، أو نحن نستتار بتاع وادة زين في زمن بتاع 2025 ل 2013. الكلام ده ما بتنفع وما كويس. فالناس المستشارين للرئيس المقربين للرئيس، الرئيس ما عنده مشكله، الرئيس في كل زمن بيقول انا ندير السلام، ما برجع بلد للحرب، لكن في اصابات مختلفه من ضمن الاعضاء الحركه الشعبيه واحد زين. نتمنى روح بتاع واحد زين ما يكون هايم وما يكون مشكله بين الناس. قبائل دي كل 64 قبيله كل واحد، ما في قبيله احسن من قبيله، وما في زول ثاني شايل هموم بتاع انه واحد زين يتم سد بتاعه في الزمن بتاع 2025 او زمن بتاع 2013. ما تمام. الروح كويس والمحبه جميل. شكرا.
شكرا لتعليقك. راديو رجع تاني واتصل علينا لسه الرقم هنا لسه في فقره بتاع ريزيدنس ريبورت 13 دقيقه بعد الساعه 6. Tell us what exactly is happening in your residential area. Radio.
Well, Joseph Akile, good morning.
Yes.
This is Joseph Promonge.
Welcome.
My brother, let me greet our regular callers, all of them, all across the nation. My regard to our people in POC, my regard to our people in the hospital, and our people in the intelligence facility. My brother want to comment about the weather of the market. Our market in Juba and South Sudan is always skyrocketing. Prices in the market are always, when you come for pure work, you get that the prices are gone high. And there is a economic sector, which is there is a Ministry of Commerce or Trade, which is not even monitoring the weather. And what people are saying, it is the dollar. Dollar jump up from 220 SSP to 600,000 SSP. And our people are trying to say we are looking for the solution. Which solution they're looking about it in the economic sector? I'm always advised the leadership to appoint economic advisor and economic council to look on the issues of the economy in the country, because you could not have the country that there's no economy. Economy is a country. If you don't have economy, you don't have country completely. Because now suffering, our nation, if it's not 100%, it is 99% plus. Because people are suffering when those who are in the town here. People are surviving like white men who came into South Sudan, making research that South Sudanese are surviving on the name of Alokrim. When somebody translates Alokrim to him, you tell him that what they say it is God grace. So people are surviving in Alokrim. Until when people do surviving on Alokrim? We need this issue to be seen by the current leadership. If they are not able to do it, let them stop the word, say we are looking for the solution. Let them know solution it is to leave the leadership to give others a chance. That is the solution if they are not able to do it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. موضوع بتاع كريم ما كفاية. اي راديو على حسب كلامه. هلو اي راديو. نعم رجع تاني واتصل علينا. هلو اي راديو.
Morning.
Yes. Atem, welcome.
Yes, Muslim alayna yujiba. Ina kuwa bardu Muslim nas bitaina kuwa. وفي 10 state plus أنا مسلم معلوم كله all the richness. I just comment on something which is always saying in the radio and it's not the I see some of the unified forces, they have been called to return to their centers, to their different centers, and they are going to be deployed all the time. I don't know. Our politicians are not tied with the liars. You can do something, one. Deploy. Not deploy enough. They are the one who is above the nation. And they are the one who can play the people. I don't know what is wrong to them. So it is not, if they want to deploy the forces, let them deploy the forces. Because tell that in different states here, they have so many different tribes. Like the border of Warabi State, they themselves raid the cattle among themselves between Unity and Warabi State. Let them go and deploy the forces there. That is the function of the forces. And in the different states, they say we have problems. They can deploy the forces there. Also, the forces, and they say that you go to the centers, you are going to be deployed. You deploy now and then, and there is no deployment. Second to that, the Ministry of Education, I don't know what is wrong with them. The result, they are being too late a lot. Let them announce the result. When you fail, you go to it. Now, the result has been spent like 7 months plus. That's what I was mean last week to say, or last 2 days ago to say. Let them announce. If they don't have money, they go the market to mark and to release the result. This one is not good at all. Education is very important. I don't know, the people of South Sudan, they are totally don't know what they're doing. Education, the people who are educated people, they know what to say, they know what to do, and they know what to think. But they need the future. Like students now, they are now waiting for that. They are just discussing now why the result is not out. This one can bring some confusion. So let them bring announce the result, and you fail, you can go back again to read. That is my message to the Minister of Education.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. رسالته لوزارة بتاع التعليم موضوع بتاع النتائج وكان قالوا انه بعد اسبوعين من المتوقع انه يكون في الاسبوع الجاي. اي راديو؟
الو اي راديو؟
يس.
Emmanuel Akile؟
نعم منو معنا؟
من ناحية الاستديو من ناحية كل المستمعين معك جد منواو.
أنا منو؟
معك جد منواو Emmanuel Akile.
جدو نعم جدو منواو تفضل.
من ناحية كل أسرة بكافة صفوف ومن ناحية سلطان جزمي من ناحية ماريا ما جوا تروين يا جماعة ماريا سبا كله من ناحية طنجان كشوك من ناحية كل الأسرة بتاع الهادي بس في موضوع بس كده نناقش عنه.
ده إيمانويل معك.
إيمانويل في موضوع بس كده أطرح للمستمعين. إيمانويل أنت عارف دائما أفضل الناس بتاعت الفنادق ديل الزبائن بتاعت الفنادق مشهد الفنادق ذاته هنا عندنا شباب هنا إيمانويل أكيلي أجنازل بيستغلوا فرصة في المساكين العاملين. مكتب العمل ما شايفين شغل كله انا ما اعرف ليه بقى المشكله وين. بتلقى واحد لما يكون شخص راسي في الفندق الزبون اللي بيجي بيأجر الفندق فبيستغل فرصه المسكينه دي فبيخلي المسكينه دي لما بيجي بفرش السرير الجماعه اللي يستغلوا فيهم فرصه يلا المسكينه دي لما تطلع اللي فيها الزول ده يعني ما في طريقة عشان يحاول يستعمل الخطنة دي أو مرة دي فبالتالي لناس الفندق بإنه يقن بدء شغال معكم هنا دي عندي اشياء كده قاعد تودر جوا الغرفه دي. يلا الجماعه برضه ما بقدر بنادي المره بان يا اخي انت على هذه الواحد اثنين ثلاثه المشكله وين؟ المركز لما تجي تحاكي الموضوع تقول لا الموضوع ده ما كده، انت اصلا عملت خير، لو عملت خير طبعا لا ما تقول لنا كلام ده. فكده انت كده اطلع امشي. يلا لما يرفض المسكينه دي لما تجي تكشف عليه مكتب العمل، مكتب العمل بيقولوا عايزين الكلام ده صح، كلام العمليه بيقولوا صح، لو عمل لو ما صح عندما ما كان يرفض من العمل. والطبع دي مسكينه فما عندها قدره تكشف فيه، تكشف بس ناس المكتب الاول وناس المكتب العمل صراحه. طبعا الناس يستغلوا فيه فرصه بدون التصاريح وبدون القروش، فإلا كده ما بدهم يشوفوا المساكين الفقراء دي، ما بدهم يفكروا فيه. برادر انا ما المشكله ده بتكسر 200 قالوا بتكسر 200 اخوانا كده. انت لما تشوف البسيط شغلت في الناس ده انت فكر فيه يا اخي، مهما كان يدوك قروش شنو كده، انت فكر في المسكين البسيط دي.
نعم.
لما يجيك في مكتب العمل هناك يطرح لك الموضوع كده، انت انظر في مشكلتي دي، انظر في مشكلتي، ما تقول خلاص كده الكلام ده بنشوف اللي يشوفوه والمسكينه دي هنا خلاص رفضوا من العمل. لا بقدر الحرب يتكسر وفينا سمعت وخربوا هنا ساكت، وفي النهايه هم قلتانهم هم مجرمه. الزول اللي بيجي بأجل الفندق ده ودار يستغل فرصه دار يستعملها، لما انت ما ترفض خلاص بقول انت المره دي اعمل لي 1 2 3 4 انت في قولي ودر ولا غرفتي ده انت في جهاز ودر، لكن ما في حاجه ودر. زي جهاز ساكت بس. وشكرا.
شكرا وده ان شاء الله يصل للجهات المعنيه عشان يتم حلول بتاع. نمشي لفاصل اعلاني ومنه حنيجي نواصل.
Albonane, always at your service. For all wholesale traders, save more for your people. Wholesale food items available now. Sugar, rice, oil and more, including cars and beyond. Top quality, competitive prices. To place your order, WhatsApp 09123 03076 or 09123 06078 or visit us at Juba Airport Road. Albonane, always at your service. Don't miss out. Quantities are limited.
Are you tired of the long queues while transferring money? Well, MTN Momo International Money Transfer is finally here. You can now send and receive money to Uganda or Kenya, or receive money from the rest of the world. Experience financial freedom and easy life with Momo. To access the service, dial *200 *1 *3 hash.
For too long, the echoes of conflict have scarred our land, tearing the very fabric of our communities. Years of war tore our nation and broke our soul. Where is the promise? South Sudan, a nation born from hope, shaped by resilience, now calls us to a new song, a song of peace, harmony and forgiveness. Let go of anger and hate. Open your hearts. Every tribe, every clan, join the effort. The same spirit that united us at independence still lives within us. It is time to mend what was broken, to forgive what was done, and to embrace our shared identity as South Sudanese. Today, let us choose a different path. Unity over division, healing over hurt, and understanding over anger. From every village and town, let peace and unity be renowned. Every individual, every community has a vital role to play. Let us reject the divisions of the past and work together for a future where peace is not just a dream, but our lived reality. Forgiveness is our strength. Harmony is our path. And a rebuilt nation is our promise. This message is brought to you by Tiafan and the Central Equatorial State Ministry of Peace Building.
In the skies above South Sudan, trust begins on the ground. At South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority, we don't just manage aviation, we uphold your right to safe, secure, and sustainable air travel. Every flight path is guided by international standards. Every airport protected with enhanced security. Every decision made with future generations in mind, from air traffic control to passenger safety. South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority is investing in systems, people, and policies that guarantee quality service delivery. We are not just overseeing aviation, we are building a reliable, transparent, and resilient airspace for all. Because you deserve to fly with confidence, you deserve to land with peace of mind. South Sudan Civil Aviation Authority. Safe, secure, sustainable. For more information, visit our website at www.sscaa.gov.ss or reach us on support@sscaa.gov.ss.
عزيزي مستمع إذاعة آي راديو، لما تشارك في أي موضوع على الإذاعة أرجوك تفادي تصريحات بتحرض أو بيشجع على الكراهية. إحنا بنشجع نقد بناء وآراء هادفة اللي بتهدف إلى توفير الحلول للمشاكل اللي بتواجه الدولة. إحنا ما دايرين ترويج للشائعات أو المعلومات اللي بتعتبر بأنها شائعة أو أغاويل. إحنا بندعو إلى رسائل السلام والوحدة بين مواطنين جنوب السودان. ده آي راديو، عينك على جنوب السودان.
راديو لأخبار الموزون اللي تكون بيتمت فوقه من كل جنوب السودان ومن برا جنوب السودان. أسمع تكون لأي راديو أنا تكون في جنوب السودان.
مرحبا بك مرة ثانية مستمع راديو في كل مكان. دقائق أو ثواني قليلة لرأس لزمن بتعنين الأخبار. نواصل بفقرة ريزيدنس ريبورت. آي راديو.
Good morning, Emmanuel. Just Akile.
Yes, good morning.
Young Sudan, from Tongbe.
Young Sudan, welcome.
Thank you. Let me pass my greeting to David Magog from Wow, Atamatem, Sultan Joseph, Mama Maria, Osas Majoyer, Coach of the POC, plus all the regular callers, viewers, and the listeners of iRadio. What I need to request this morning is what I heard yesterday from iRadio here, the voices of our refugees in Kenya. Our refugees have narrated a very heartbreaking story concerning what is going on in the camp. So I'm urging the leadership in the state and the national government to intervene to help them, especially those who are willing to resettle back to eastern Equatoria and they are stuck in Nadepal. Others who are moving, you cannot move from Kenya up to Kapoita. This is very far. So the leadership of Luis Lobong Lojore should intervene by giving out transportations to these people, especially those who are now in Nadepal, to rescue the lives of these children. And Minister of Humanitarian here need also to help. It is the mandate of the government to protect the citizen, whether inside or outside the state. So, and if the people are left like that to suffer, when they do not go to camp for their own issue, they ran there because there was insecurity. And in the agreement it is forbid that if people are willing voluntarily to come back, they can be repatriated back and resettled to their respective areas. So this is my request to the government to urgently intervene to help our people. Thank you.
Alright, thank you. رسالة بيجي هناك منه آي راديو. نعم، وهذه رسالة قوية في الناحية ده. خلينا نواصل ونرفع مكالمة ده قبل ما نمشي لفقرة بعناوين الأخبار باللغة الإنجليزية. آي راديو.
Good morning, Emmanuel Joseph.
Yes, good morning.
Yes, you are talking to Evan Young from Jalbert.
Yes, welcome.
Yeah, thank you. So, what I can say, Emmanuel, my greeting to all callers, regular callers, writers, and listeners. So what I can say, it is what was saying by my colleague who calling from me just now. So our people are start moving from Kakuma on foot to Juba. And our government does not hear any voice of the spokesperson or any parliament talking about those people. People, they work on foot from Kakuma to Nadefal on foot. Government was alert, seen, because there is a category was that was using by the East African, Kenyan, Uganda, to refugee. When you reach category 3 and 4, you have no food. From Uganda and Uganda, from Uganda to Kenya, those things, it was often seen. Government was alert. It was knowing that there is something that was happened to our people there. Not take the action to transport those people. If they don't reach the camp, there is people who was starting journey from there on foot to Nadefal. Let them provide something that will bring them to South Sudan, because there is something was happened to them. Why government was not very keen to do that? And they talked last time, there is a peace in South Sudan, we need our people to come back to South Sudan. If there is no food there and they come back to South Sudan, let them get support to bring them back, because they start their journey already. So this one, it is burning all of us as citizens of South Sudan, because we are hearing that every day. What I can say, let the government put in their mind that those people, they are bigger, they are very like than us, those who are here in Juba. And they are the people who run because there was a war in South Sudan.
Right.
In 2013.
Thank you. Thank you very much for reaching out to us on this topic. We'll leave it there for now. It's time for news headlines.
This is iRadio.
The iRadio.
Your eye on South Sudan.
Right, it's time for news headlines. And Lasuba Memo is right here with me. Good morning, Lasuba. What do you have for us today?
Good morning, Emmanuel. Joseph Akile. Authorities in Greater Kapoita of Eastern Equatorial State have confirmed the growing influx of South Sudanese refugees returning from the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya to South Sudan. The Unity State government has announced that it has collected over 100 firearms from unauthorized users in Mankend of Mayam County. And South Sudan is stunningly dismantled Libya on Thursday, cruising to a 115-52 win in Group C action at the Afro Basketball Championship in Angola. This and many more.
Thank you, Lasuba. دعنا من الأخبار. خلي قريب من الراديو بتاعك خدت التفاصيل في رأس الساعة. Right, and welcome back from the break. We'll get more details about the stories, the top of the hour. Now let's move on with our program, where we are going to talk about the current political, security and humanitarian situation in South Sudan. Now, according to a senior analyst at the International Crisis Group, South Sudan is experiencing one of its worst humanitarian crises in over a decade. The crisis is driven by a combination of internal conflict, regional instability and climate shocks. Now, Daniel Akage, a senior analyst with the Crisis Group, says that the parties to the revitalized peace agreement, who are now part of the unity government, are not working in a collegial or collaborative manner as the agreement originally intended. Now, instead, he argues that political elites are benefiting disproportionately, where the vast majority of South Sudanese people remain in dire conditions. He also referenced the outcomes of the national dialogue, where citizens expressed a clear desire to take ownership of their country's future, a future that many feel current leaders are failing to prioritize. Now, yesterday, my colleague Obach Uku Chagawa spoke with Daniel Akile, who is currently based outside the country, to get his insights on South Sudan's unfolding crisis. Now, in the interview, Daniel shared his perspectives and recommendations on key issues, including the status of peace implementation, ongoing violations of the revitalized peace agreement, the deepening trust deficit among leaders, the recent visit of the African Union Peace and Security Council to Juba, among many others. Now, let's hear more from Daniel.
Thanks for reaching out, Obach, to me to talk about the what is happening now in South Sudan. South Sudan is facing one of its worst humanitarian crises in a decade. And three main factors that are aggravating this crisis are there is internal unrest, which I will unpack in a minute. There is also regional instability, especially stemming from the ongoing war in neighboring Sudan. And then lastly, part of the factors is the climate shock, which is affecting areas that are already was hit by the violence, especially in Upper Nile. So those are the three major issues that we are facing as a country today. The internal unrest has three components so far. That the parties who signed the 2018 peace agreement, which ended the first civil war, are no longer working together. There are political tensions, and since March of this year, this tension has led to the house arrest of the first Vice President Riek Machar. He is supposed to be working with the President of South Sudan, Salva Kiir, to implement key provisions of the agreement, which were to reunify the forces, to draft a new constitution, as the country currently has none, because the transitional constitutions and the agreement together are now the law of the land. So there is a need for a new constitution, which is what the agreement requires, and then to prepare the country for elections. None of that seems to be actually going forward. So that is a big problem. And then there's also escalating violence, especially in Upper Nile and Equatoria. We have seen some violence happening there. So those are the internal issues that we are facing as a nation. And then the ongoing war in Sudan has also affected the refugee situation, the displacement. We have 1.2 million people that had been pushed back into South Sudan from Sudan. And then also the government is struggling to pay civil servants because of the cut in the oil production. So those are some of the issues that we are facing as a result of regional instability.
And now, what impact are these developments having on the peace process and governance?
South Sudan today, as we speak, it has the only political framework that it has is the 2018 peace agreement. And this is the framework that the regions and the global partners and the government have been working together to try to transition, because South Sudan, the reason we had the agreement was to end the conflict and then also to transition to democracy. And that seems to be not working very well so far, because the agreement is not being implemented. Prior to the latest waves of violence and political tensions, only 10% of the agreement was being implemented. So it's been very slow. So there is not much of progress toward transitioning the country into democracy. So that's one issue. The ongoing war in Sudan is actually affecting our economic situation, because with 70% of the revenues, oil revenues, no longer available to the government, is making it difficult for the government to carry out services, and that's a big problem. Also, the refugee situation, the displaced people, South Sudan was already facing massive humanitarian crisis prior to this new wave of tensions we are seeing. But then now with the people continuing to come through range to South Sudan from Sudan into this fragile environment is not really helping at all. And then they're also coming to an area that has been devastated by climate shock. So that is also another issue that we are facing currently. So it's the impact on the economics is massive on humanitarian situations. And this is happening at a time when the humanitarian sector is collapsing because there's reduced funding coming into South Sudan, and the issues are actually humanitarian crises are getting worse and worse as 9.3 million people are in dire need of assistance, and we have more than 7 million people that are facing food crisis, severe food crisis as we speak.
And what do you make about the recent visit by the AU Peace and Security Council? They came to Juba and they spent 2 days where they met with the president and also with civil society, religious leaders, among others. What is your take on their visit? Do you think the visit can contribute to the peace process implementation?
The visit of the African Union Peace and Security Council was a positive move, but this is actually South Sudan has received the highest attention in the region lately due to this crisis that I just described to you. This was not the first time the African Union visited Juba. They have been coming, and the goal is to try to reach some critical concessions among the parties so that they can get back to implement the agreement. Whether they succeed or not is a major test to their influence over the parties. Previously, before their visit, the chairperson of the African Union came, and then also the regional blocs like the IGAD and regional countries that are interested to try to help South Sudanese resolve the current ongoing problems. They've been visiting Juba and trying to get the parties to dialogue, and I think that's a positive thing. But we don't know if they will succeed in getting the parties to implement the agreement, whether it will be possible for the parties that have arrested each other to be able to work together again. We don't know that, but it was a positive gesture from the African Union to come to Juba.
Yes, Mr. Daniel, let's talk about the issue of continued detention of the first Vice President, Dr. Riek Machar. What is your view on the detention of the first Vice President, and how might this affect the implementation of the peace agreement and political reconciliation in the country?
The agreement cannot really easily move forward under the current circumstance because in 2017, you could recall that when the national dialogue conversation, the surveys that were carried out among the South Sudanese, when they finally came out, the South Sudanese were saying from everywhere that the two leaders had let down the South Sudanese. And if they were together in the same government, they don't work together. And if one of them is out, we are facing a war. So the conclusion of that national dialogue was for the two of them to leave South Sudanese alone, to leave their future in their own hands. But both of them said no. They said we were tasked to implement the agreement. So if we were to exit, then we will not be able to actually transition from this arrangement to democracy. So you need us to work together. So that seems to be not working anymore, that they promised South Sudanese to work together to implement the agreement so that the country transitions into democracy. But that did not happen. So that is raising the question of whether, with one of them arrested, the other one out, is the peace agreement still there? That's a big question. And some people might think that the agreement is no longer there. It appears to be collapsing. The state also needs to be determined, but more is needed in the sense that the South Sudanese wants to have agency. There is no agency now. It's just the parties that signed the agreement, but South Sudan is bigger than the parties. There's a need for a forum for South Sudanese to determine their future, and it's not just about the fate of that agreement or the fate of those who are arrested that needs to be determined. But the future of the country seems to be also at a very critical juncture.
there was presidential degrees dismissing government official and SPLM-IO members of parliament. So how do you assess prison degrees removing officials, including the first deputy speaker of the national parliament and some members of the parliament, including also the appointment of deputy governor for Western Equatoria State?
Initially, the South Sudanese were expecting the coalition government that came together in 2020 as a result of the 2018 peace agreement would work together. But the trigger that led to all of these problems facing the unilateral reshuffle of the government. And this actually created all these tensions we are seeing. So if the government continues to act unilaterally without consensus from the parties that signed the agreement and that came together to form the coalition government, the unity government, is not looking very good. So this was just like part of what we have been seeing, the trend of one side deciding to fire or to dismiss and appoint at will, and that doesn't seem like it's going to get the parties that to implement the agreement. So this was unfortunate, but it seems to be continuations of what we've been seeing since February, when the first decree that started all of this fired the governor of Western Equatoria, Alfred Futuyo, and then this is the continuation of the same. So there is not much of a consensus, and that is not really the way forward for the country.
Now, do you expect any domestic or international pressure to change his status?
Yes, there could be external or regional or international pressure, but actually what is important is the South Sudanese. What do they want? Because some of the problems we always tend to outsource them to outsiders, and this actually creates deniability among the leaders when the solutions to South Sudan's problems are actually decided by outsiders. So there is a need for the South Sudanese themselves to stand up and say, what do we want for our country? What do we want for the future of this country? And there is a need for that. But of course, the outsiders could also jump in, but the solution needs to come from the locals. It has to be South Sudanese leading the way. And so far, there is no forum to discuss those issues. There is a need for a forum for South Sudanese to participate in shaping the future of their country.
Yes, before we want to what step would you recommend to stabilize the political situation and safeguard the peace agreement in the country?
The parties need to get back because this is the only framework we have now. This peace agreement is the only framework existing for the country. And it's just maintaining the peace agreement is not working for South Sudan. There is a need to transition the country out of this stagnation because the country has been stuck in these peace arrangements that are heavily favoring the elite, but there's not much of grassroots involvement in them. So there is a need for the leadership to give a room so that the South Sudanese could also participate in discussing the country's future, which it will involve exiting the country from these peace settlements that are going nowhere. And that is really what I would recommend is that there is a need for a broader forum that will involve civil society and other stakeholders. So it should not just be about the warring parties that have signed the agreement. The South Sudan is bigger.
South Sudan is bigger. سمعنا هناك من المحلل الدولي اللي هو دانيال أكيتش، وهو طبعا تابع للانترناشونال كرايسيس جروب، بيقدم كومنت بتاعه عن الأوضاع في جنوب السودان، الأوضاع السياسية، الأوضاع الأمنية، الأوضاع الاقتصادية، وكمان برضو موضوع بتاع الشؤون الإنسانية في البلاد. That was the comment or exclusive interview there with Daniel Akech of the International Crisis Group, speaking to my colleague Obach Ukuchagawa yesterday. And Daniel Akej is a senior analyst for South Sudan, and his research focuses on the political economy of public authority and also its relation to violence in South Sudan, aiming to provide insights into conflict prevention, mitigation, and resolution in the region. Now, prior to joining Crisis Group in 2024, Daniel worked as an independent conflict analyst based mostly in the Washington, D.C. area, that is in the United States of America. Now, he holds two undergraduate degrees, a degree in theology and a degree in mathematics from the University of San Diego back in 2007, and also masters in mathematics from the University of Colorado in 2010, and a PhD in mathematics from the Claremont Graduate University in 2013. Daniel has extensively studied the links between conflict and other critical issues such as corruption, the instrumentalization of fear, and climate shocks. His areas of expertise include political economy of public authority, corruption, instrumentalization of fear, hate speech and disinformation, governance, and climate change, and also its impacts. Bring us about 7 minutes to the top of the hour. We go for this short break and we'll be right back. Don't touch your dial. Good morning.
Attention, attention. The malaria vaccine is available in South Sudan, targeting children aged 5 to 23 months. The vaccine has been integrated into routine immunization services with 4 scheduled doses, which is highly recommended to be received at 5, 6, 7, and 18 months of age. Ensure your child receives all 4 doses for best protection and to boost their immunity. The vaccine is safe, free, and effective, significantly reducing the risk of malaria and saving lives. Even after vaccination, continue to sleep under a long-lasting insecticide-treated mosquito net every night. Remove stagnant water and clear the bush around your home to keep mosquitoes away. As part of the second phase, the vaccine will be rolled out across 52 counties of Upper Nile, Western Equatoria, Lakes, Unity, Eastern Equatoria, Jonglei State, Abyei, Rueng, and Pibor administrative areas. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Health with support from WHO, UNICEF, and partners.
Did you know non-communicable diseases like heart disease, stroke, cancer, diabetes, hypertension, asthma, and chronic mental illnesses are long-term illnesses that can't be passed from person to person? There is no exact cause. However, they are attributed to a mix of factors, including genetic, environmental, physiological, and behavioral factors. And yes, your lifestyle matters. Smoking, unhealthy eating, lack of exercise, harmful alcohol use, and even air pollution can all increase your risk. But here's the good news. You can take charge of your health. Start by adopting healthier habits like eating foods with less oils or fats and avoid sugary foods. Staying active, avoiding tobacco and excessive alcohol, and going for regular medical checkups. Stay informed, spread the word, and support healthier choices in your family and community. For more information, visit Melekia Diabetes Center within Melekia Primary Health Care Center premises. This message is brought to you by the South Sudan Red Cross and State Ministry of Health, Central Equatoria State.
Good morning, it's
All right, 5 minutes to the top of the hour. Let's move on with our program where the Central Bank of the United Arab Emirates and the Bank of South Sudan have signed a Memorandum of Understanding or MOU to enhance cooperation in modern banking infrastructure and financial innovation. Now, the agreement signed by Dr. Addis Ababa Utho, Governor of the Bank of South Sudan, and Saif Humayt Al-Dahiri, Assistant Governor for Banking Operations and Support Services at the Central Bank of the UAE, aims to support the development of secure, efficient, and internationally compliant payment systems in South Sudan. Let's listen to Dr. Addis Abba, Governor of Central Bank.
We are grateful to have signed an MOU today between the Bank of South Sudan and the Central Bank of UAE to establish a cooperation between two sisterly banks on the area of payment infrastructure and mainly on card scheme system. We're also looking at the capacity building and knowledge sharing, supervisions, and other area of cooperation between the two institutions. For us, this landmark agreement bring about the long cooperation that we aim to between the two banks to ensure that we strengthen our financial market infrastructure and ensure that we bring about financial stability and the resilience. We are grateful that we also have to form a steering committee that will look into implementation of the provision of this MOU plus initiative that we have agreed on. We are coming up with a detailed implementation plan that will capture the area of activities that we intend to implement within the agreed time frame, and a clear responsibility to ensure that that MOU is implemented and come into become a reality. I am so grateful to the leadership of the Central Bank of UAE for their commitment, their understanding and the cooperation that they have shown us. And we look forward to have this long understanding cooperation between two institutions. I look forward to receive the team in South Sudan. We had agreed to meet for signing of the matrix, implementation matrix, and hopefully will be the third week of August in Juba, South Sudan. So I want to thank the leadership of the Central Bank of UAE once again for having this concluded within a very short period. We've been here now for the last 3 weeks. The first time we came here, and now we have seen this have come to pass, and we're grateful for that.
Right, and ده كان هناك دكتور أديس أبابا أطو محافظ بتاع البنك المركزي بيتكلم في موضوع بتاع الاتفاقية اللي حصل مع اليونايتد أراب إميريتس. بيجيبنا ثواني قليلة رأس السبعة شو الأخبار باللغة الإنجليزية مع الزميل السوبا ميمو، وينضم لي في الساعة الثانية من برنامج الدول. صباح الخير.
Your voice matters more than you know. Every time you call iRadio, every time you share your perspective, every time you give your opinion on air, you are practicing freedom of speech. You are protecting media freedom. You are keeping independent radio alive. You are actively participating in the governance process. Many may not realize it, but those calls, comments, and conversations are not just talk. They are acts of public participation, the heartbeat of a free and open society. By speaking up, you help hold leaders accountable, raise community issues, and shape national conversations. Without your voice, the microphone goes silent. Keep calling, keep talking, because when the people speak, democracy breathes.
Live from Juba, on air and online.
This is iRadio News.
Hello, good morning. This is iRadio News. First, here are the headlines. Authorities in Greater Kapoita in eastern Equatorial State have confirmed a growing influx of South Sudanese refugees returning from the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya to South Sudan. The Unity State government has announced that it has collected over 100 firearms from unauthorized users in Mankien of Mayam County. And South Sudan stunningly dismantled Libya on Thursday, cruising to a 115-52 win in a Group C action at the Afro Basketball Championship in Angola. These are stories and more coming to in this news bulletin with me, Lasuba Memo, and now the news in detail. Authorities in Greater Kapoita of Eastern Equatoria State have confirmed a growing influx of South Sudanese refugees returning from the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya to South Sudan. Speaking to iRadio, several returnees cited worsening conditions in the camp, including food shortages and lack of basic services, attributing the situation to recent cuts in humanitarian funding. Mayor of Kapoita, Lotete Lomude, described the situation as increasingly difficult, with the area now receiving between 50 and 80 returnees per day. Some are arriving on foot, while others traveling by vehicle, turning Kapoita into an informal transit hub for those returning from exile. Mayor Lotete said the situation is challenging and is urging humanitarian partners and aid organizations to step in and aid the returnees. Several individuals told iRadio that they are returning voluntarily with the hope to rebuilding their lives in South Sudan after spending years in displacement. The Unity State government has announced that it has collected over 100 firearms from unauthorized users in Mankien of Mayom County. In a statement from the governor's office, the Unity State government confirmed the collection of over 100 firearms from the first phase of a voluntary disarmament campaign. The handover of the surrendered arms was overseen by Governor Justice Reagbim Top. The firearms were collected over 2 weeks following a recent peace conference that called for peaceful disarmament. The effort was driven by local administrators, traditional chiefs, and community leaders who committed to the conference resolutions. Local authorities, however, raised concerns that the ongoing rainy season is hindering the process, as it is keeping communities scattered and making it difficult to collect the weapons. Despite the challenges, Governor Top urged the authorities to push forward, ordering that the number of guns collected in the next phase must exceed the initial count. South Sudan is strongly dismantled Libya on Thursday, cruising to a 115-52 win in Group C action at the Afro Basket Championship in Angola. The 63-point route marks the biggest win of the tournament so far and a powerful comeback for the Bright Stars after their opening loss to Guinea. Team captain Nuno Mode led from the front with 16 points and 10 rebounds as all 12 South Sudan players got on the score sheet. The aggressive full-court press overwhelmed Libya early with a 31-12 first quarter lead that set the tone for the rest of the game. Libya struggled with turnovers and poor shooting, hitting just 11 of 49 attempts and turning the ball over 21 times, leading to 32 points for South Sudan. Despite Nazim Budra's 17-point effort, Libya now sits at 0-2 and faces elimination. This is iRadio Morning News. And now to the international scene. The BBC has defended its investigation into child sexual exploitation in Kenya after government described it as a hoax. Speaking in Parliament on Wednesday, Interior Minister Kipchumba Murkomen described the documentary as fake because the people who were interviewed were not underage. Mr. Murkomen added that the victims interviewed by BBC Africa Eye were posing as children. The BBC says the documentary was clear that those interviewed were adults recounting experiences of abuse that occurred when they were underage. The broadcaster added that the Africa Eye investigation was an important piece of public interest journalism. U.S. and Russian officials will converge on the state of Alaska ahead of a highly anticipated Friday meeting between Presidents Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin. The pair will meet for the first time in 6 years as Trump tries to enact a key campaign pledge to end Russia's war in Ukraine. The U.S. president, who has portrayed himself as a global peacemaker, hopes to leverage his personal relationship with Putin to achieve a ceasefire breakthrough where others have failed. On Thursday, he assessed that there was a 25% chance the meeting would not be successful. Ukraine's leader, Volodymyr Zelensky, has been excluded from the talks and warned that any resolution made in his absence will be meaningless. This is iRadio Morning News, and to end this bulletin, here's a recap of the headlines. Authorities in Greater Kapoita in eastern Equatorial State have confirmed a growing influx of South Sudanese refugees returning from the Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya to South Sudan. The Unity State government has announced that it has collected over 100 firearms from unauthorized users in Mankien of Mayam County. And South Sudan's Stanley dismantled Libya on Thursday, cruising to a 115-52 win in Group C action at the Afro-Basket Championship in Angola. That's the end of iRadio Morning News. If there is a story or an event you'd like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message at +211 925 287 It's also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on X at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at iRadio South Sudan. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 8 o'clock. I am Nasuba Memo. Thank you for listening.